how did it affect your spiritual path, let's say, something you were already on, but my assumption is it somewhat catalyzed your kind of practice. But talk us through what that meant day to day in terms of how you approached your own life.
So the Buddha is said to have said that impermanence is the jewel of his teachings. And to realize impermanence is, of course, very different. We all know that nothing lasts. We can understand that from a physics perspective, or we can notice everything's changing, and we know that we all have this experience that we call death happening at some point where life appears to end for us. And yet the embracing of my mortality, the realization that I was going to die, and embracing that, really like being so curious and fascinated by that and diving into that and integrating that into my reality, created a different quality of experience with reality. And there were some nice altered state experiences and states of consciousness which I had touched before, perhaps in meditation, and yet was able to experience on a prolonged and lasting basis. And what it created initially was a great deal of presence, being here now, and suddenly the power of now was rather more deeply understood or deeply realized than simply being understood.
And were you following particular practices to facilitate that, or was it just a kind of something that was just happening by itself, or both? Or
I think it was happening by itself. So I meditated many thousands of hours prior, but I think at the time it was rather a process that was unfolding by itself, and not one that I would claim to have been managing or initiating. All that I did was embrace my death, embrace mortality, and really dive into what that would mean. You know, so right here, right now, if I was to know that I was going to die in the next 5 seconds, what would that do to this communication? You get a sense, right? It just brings the sacred exquisiteness of this moment to life, to our immediate experience. So again, this added an extra layer of like, wow, this is such a treat, such a joy.
Yeah, I guess it's like if you can measure someone's life by how much time they're actually here, and there's only a limited amount of time left, you don't want to be off somewhere else, I guess. You want to be here, I guess that's...
Absolutely. And such was the depth of delight and joy that was experienced, that if that was the end of my life, I would have happily embraced that in order to have had that experience. So for me, I was done. I'd achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. I had experienced all that I wanted to experience, which is this, right now. At the same time, being here right now and enjoying it so much, I want to prolong that. So within the human experience, I've made an agreement with my parents, and it seems perfectly reasonable that I should live longer than they do. that they should get to die first. That's just, I'm an Englishman, I like to be polite and courteous, and that seems...
I understand, you've got to follow traditions.
Basic manners, isn't it, really?
Indeed. Of course. I understand why they may feel that way.
Yeah.